Hi, and welcome to People Keep Dying, a podcast where we talk about people who die. I'm your host, Angela.
And I'm Stephanie.
And today is our 13th episode.
Number
which
13.
is pretty exciting because we're almost at 3 months.
We're past 3 months.
Is it 3 months?
It's been past 3 months.
But yeah, anyways, this is super
matter.
exciting because that means we committed to something and then we followed through.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's been pretty good. I mean, I'm pretty impressed with myself for still showing up every week.
And and editing very well, might I add, because it's gotten better every episode.
I think we've gotten better with our talking. I feel like we've just gotten better with our talking.
We've definitely stopped rambling as much.
I mean, we still ramble.
Not as much.
The audio seems to have gotten a little bit better.
Yes.
I've now gotten it where it's nice. It's not perfect, but it's good enough.
It's really good.
It's good enough where I don't want to kill myself when I'm listening to it. And hopefully it's pleasing to other people, but no one has told us that we suck yet. So
I know I haven't gotten an email from anyone though. So if you're bored and you want to email me a story, you let me know. I check the email all the time. Anyways, I got a longer story today for once because I never do long stories, so this is very surprising for me. But I didn't realize that this topic would be this long because it was only one person who died, so just don't expect it to be this long.
big thing.
But she was just so interesting. And when it gets to the part where I'm gonna get to, you're gonna be like, oh, I don't know if you'll know the story. It is kind of popular. Like, it's not folklore because it's true, but is folklore true?
I mean, folklore is just folklore, and there's true elements to it, but I'm sure it's been exaggerated over the years.
But okay, so we're going all the way to Japan for this one.
Ooh, Japan. What year? What year are we in?
1905 is when she was born.
Okay.
But all the things happened in the 30s, but still...
It's still recent.
In this century.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why I wasn't sure if it was a folklore.
No, I wouldn't consider it folklore if it's within the last, it's only 115 years ago. So.
Yeah. But anyways, so this is about a girl named Sada Abe, and I don't know if I'm saying that right or not.
That's all right.
But
we're not here to be great pronunciators.
No. I'm going to guess, I'm Korean, and I think the characters are really similar to Japan. So I know we don't have, a hard A. We don't have an A. So I think it's Sada. Sarah, sort of. Yeah. Well, she was born May 28th, 1905 in Kanda, Tokyo, Japan. So she's a Gemini.
I'm sorry, in Canada?
In Kanda, Tokyo.
I was like, I didn't know there was a Canada in Tokyo.
I think it's a neighborhood called Kanda. Yeah. And she was born near my birthday because I was on the 27th. So we share almost a birthday.
Ooh. Plus, maybe a couple dozen years.
A couple dozen. But, she came first and she is going to, I feel like she's going to last longer in literature than me because she's done.
Yeah, but you're alive now and she isn't. So who's the real winner?
Well, I don't know because there's, you'll see.
Okay. Well,
okay.
Yeah,
probably dead.
I shouldn't say.
She's probably dead. 1905, probably dead.
Yeah, I would say she's probably dead now.
Strongly say
even
she's
if
dead.
I haven't heard the story, but even if she somehow miraculously makes it out of the story, time is a harsh bitch, and time got her.
And even though people in Japan live for a long time, I don't think she's alive anymore.
I know, but even if they live for a long time, isn't the oldest only one?
I think it's 130.
Is it 130?
I think so.
For whatever reason, I was going to say 132, but I thought that was too high, so I was going to go down to 116.
I could be wrong. We could both be wrong.
We could both be wrong.
Anyways, she was the youngest surviving child of Shigeyoshi and Katsu Abe, a upper middle class family. Sada's brother Shintaro was a known womanizer, and after his marriage, ran away with all of his parents' money because he's a dickbag.
Wow, sounds like it.
Sada's sister Teruko had several lovers, which was punished by her father. You want to guess how he punished her?
No.
He sold Teruko to a brothel for 2 years. which was not an uncommon way to punish promiscuity in women.
Okay, yeah, because that doesn't really. Maybe because I've read like a lot of geisha. I was super into geisha stuff when I was like.
Well, this is a geisha story.
Yes, I'm picking up on that a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was gonna say like, oh, that's really not all that. I mean, it's harsh. It's not to say that it's not that harsh.
It is.
It's
but
not
it
where
is of
I
the
went.
Times, unfortunately, it's like when anyone talks about like how, like a lot of awful things happen in history, but then you have to understand that it was a different time, so people just didn't see it as a big deal back then, which is unfair. But it was, right? Didn't have rights. Women didn't have rights.
Women didn't have rights. And listen, sex sells, and sex is always going to sell forever. Mm-hmm. And whorehouses are going to exist.
Was legal in Japan.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Geisha. Yeah.
So, her father would later buy her back from the contract after 2 years. But technically, geishas aren't really prostitutes.
No, I was just about to say geishas aren't technically
you might actually know the story.
Yeah. I might. It depends on. Yeah, maybe. The name doesn't seem familiar, but I don't remember names.
Even in this past, like a long time ago, when women were basically, if you were tainted, no one wanted to marry you. Mm-hmm. Well, because of the high class of the family, she was still able to get married.
Okay.
So I guess like we're supposed to be like, yeah.
We're just never gonna talk about how I was sold off for 2 years.
Yeah, fine.
I was just at like a community college.
She was just on the farm helping.
She was at an all-girls school.
Yeah, all-girls school.
She was at boarding school.
As the youngest, Sada was doted on and was allowed more freedoms. She took lessons in singing and the shamisen, which is a traditional Japanese 3-stringed instrument closely associated with geishas, which I think, yeah. So at that time, geishas were seen as celebrities at the time, and their lifestyles were viewed as glamorous.
Even though they weren't.
Yeah. Well, I think like
they were glamorous, but it was a lot of work.
I think it's like Hollywood in the 50s though too, right? So it was glamorous, but then you're on a lot of drugs, and then
you do a lot of drugs, and like the stuff you're putting on your skin is like
it's
filled with
awful.
lead, and it's horrible. You get your hair done, and then you can't shower for days. You have to sleep on the most uncomfortable little like neck thing to hold your head up because you can't squish your hair.
And it wasn't like, I think it was like Rita Hayworth had like her hairline moved up because she was too Hispanic looking. Mm-hmm. And I remember all that shit, and I'm like, that was not a good time as a celebrity.
No, being a celebrity comes with its own cost.
Yeah, different costs at this time as back then, but it seemed much worse back then.
Glamour has a very ugly side for being as glamorous as it is. But anyways, continue.
As her siblings caused more problems, Sada became more independent and fell with a group of similar teenagers. At the age of 14, she was raped by an acquaintance. As her brother Shintaro had run off with a good chunk of the family fortune, Sada was given a job as a maid for a wealthy family. She hated the job and ran away with money and jewelry she stole from the wealthy home.
That sounds like something that a troublesome, independent girl would most definitely do.
She was later caught by the police. Her parents initially defended her ongoing bad behavior, but eventually was sold to a geisha house in Yokohama in 1922. So I think she was 17 at this point. Yeah, 22. So
it's interesting that like she had these like dirtbag brother and sisters that were causing all this drama.
But her sister wasn't a dirtbag either. She just had sex with men or guys, and then her parents were like, "Well, you're a whore," which is fucked up. So.
I mean, and so they sold her to a whorehouse, and it's like, well, why would you can't sell your daughter to a whorehouse and expect her to become less hoary when she comes home? Like that it
Maybe
doesn't.
Like well, you know when you watch King of the Hill and then he makes him smoke that entire fucking pack of cigarettes, it's like that.
Which I will. That's the type of parenting that I will be doing if I ever fucking catch my kids with cigarettes. They'll be smoking that whole whole pack
Maybe
until they get sick.
That was the mentality of this. Is what
Go
I'm
fuck
saying.
all the dudes until you don't want dick anymore.
Yeah. Maybe that's what it was. Toku, Sada's older sister, said that Sada always wanted to be a geisha. Sada claimed that being sent to a geisha was a punishment for her promiscuity. So she didn't really see it as like she wanted to be one.
Oh, she didn't.
But then her sister was like, no, she always wanted to be one.
Okay.
So her father's friend, who was tasked with delivering her to the geisha house, raped her before delivering her.
Of course he did, that disgusting little puke face. Men are so gross.
Yep. Continuously. She said, I made up my mind. My body is already filthy. I don't care anymore. And I can really, I see that. It's really shitty.
No.
So at this point, she's not going to be in the best place, and she's not going to have like the most, I guess, like a foot up in her life. Yeah. I feel
because she's like
so defeated,
repeatedly being raped.
Yeah.
And then because she got raped, and then basically her reactions to getting raped was,
well, I'm disgusted. I'm gross.
I'm gross. And then her parents essentially punish her by putting her in a situation where she's just going to go and get raped more. So, I can understand like why she doesn't have a good view of her body and hates it.
Sada tried to climb the ranks of a geisha because, I mean, I guess wanting to be a celebrity wouldn't be the worst thing, but would later find out that those who rose to be true stars had apprenticeships from an early age. So before teenagers, like they started training them really early on. Yeah. So she's too old at this point at 17 to be like a true like top geisha, I guess.
Yeah, because now is it because like, see now what does the time really do? Because I would sort of think that it would be possible for a newer, older one to pass through, but maybe they want the super, super young ones.
I think they want the geishas to be really young when they hit their peak. So she just can't do it because they usually hit their peak at 20 and 21. Mm-hmm. And so they would take more time for her to learn all of the history and all that shit.
She might be able to bang it out in 4 years. You don't know. But like,
not if you're,
I understand.
But on the other hand, most of the girls that are raised on the geisha system from a younger age saw that Sada seemed more worldly and educated. Yeah. So she was more sought after by men because she could hold on a conversation. Yeah, and she seemed like more of an adult because like I don't know, it doesn't really seem like geishas they're stunted in their growth.
Well, they have to
in a lot of ways.
Yeah, they're stunted in their growth in that like they're probably very limited on their exposure. They're only supposed to do like certain things, and then you get this girl who actually has like seen the world, and she probably can carry on a conversation.
Yeah.
A little bit better, which is new. I would say would be a little bit new for these gentlemen.
And because of her low status, it made her more appealing because high-ranking geishas rarely ever had sex with clients, but lower-ranking ones always did.
Okay.
So it was expected of her to have,
that's unfortunate.
During this time, her sexual appetite awakened.
Oh.
After
in her 20s?
In her 20s.
Wonder what her 30s was like.
Oh, yeah. After 5 years, Sada contracted syphilis, which meant that she had to undergo regular physical exams.
Yeah.
The thing with geishas is that they usually don't have to, but if you contract syphilis, you have to do regular physical exams.
Geisha?
They didn't have to get checked.
I'm trying to remember. Yeah, they didn't have to get checked as often. I remember, I'm just having visuals of like, it doesn't matter.
But she, because she already had to undergo the regular physical exams, legal sex workers were required to also get that done and were paid much better. So Sada decided to go into that profession instead. Yeah. So she quit the geisha house and went into like a legal prostitution house.
Yeah. Which, why not?
Yeah.
Go get your money, girl. You got syphilis.
So Sada began working as a prostitute in Osaka's famous Tobita brothel district. Sada would later come to learn that geishas were treated with a certain degree of respect due to their long-held customs of being male entertainers.
Yes.
So she was basically treated like shit as a sex worker.
You get paid more, but people think you're trash.
Yeah. So that's the big difference, which is something that you wouldn't know until you experience it, I guess, in her. Because you don't know this kind of stuff, right? It's not like she's going around talking to any of the other sex workers.
Yeah, I would imagine maybe in her own experience, but I would still think that she should have known.
Yeah.
From her sister's experience.
But maybe her sister didn't talk about it.
Yeah, maybe.
Who knows? But as revenge, whenever a client treated her like shit, she stole from them.
I mean, asshole tax.
So obviously she gets caught for that too. She attempted to leave the brothel several times, but was always brought back by the well-organized prostitution system. Because I think they kept track of all of them and stuff.
So you can't get out?
No.
Oh.
She was eventually able to escape after 2 years and then became a waitress because she was over it, you know?
Yeah.
She was over being treated like shit. But it didn't take long before Sada became dissatisfied with the wages and went back to being a sex worker.
Because sex sells.
You make so much more money that way.
You do.
And a waitress, you probably made like dirt. Like even now, it's probably the same, right?
She traded her tips for tips.
Yeah.
That was such a bad joke.
You leave it in.
Yeah.
Sada became an unlicensed sex worker and worked at an unlicensed brothel in Osaka in 1932. So she was 27 at this point. Because unlicensed ones, I think, make even more money.
Okay.
But I'm not sure.
Because they're dealing with cash.
Yeah.
And we're dealing with some more shady men.
And you don't have to get checked as often because why are you getting checked if you're unlicensed?
Man, she's just spreading around that syphilis.
Mm-hmm. When Saba's mother died, she returned to Tokyo in January 1933 and entered the sex market in Tokyo.
Oh, shit.
So she went back home.
Happy.
Saba's father fell gravely ill in January 1934, and Saba nursed him for 10 days until he died.
Yeah, nursed him.
Mm-hmm. So on October 1934, Sada was arrested in a raid at an unlicensed brothel and released by her first real lover. As in mistress, not like love, but like lover. Oh. Yeah. Kinosuke Kasahara was a well-connected friend of a brothel owner who found Sada very attractive and arranged for her to be his mistress. Ooh. So she was finally taken in as a lover.
How pretty woman-esque of her.
He would later say about her, she was really strong, a really powerful one. Even though I was pretty jaded, she was enough to astound me. She wasn't satisfied unless we did it 2, 3, or 4 times a night.
I mean, how could she possibly be satisfied anymore?
To her, it was unacceptable unless I had my hands on her private parts all night long.
Oh, God.
At first, it was great, but after a couple weeks, I got a little exhausted.
Yeah, I can imagine how. I mean, just thinking about that exhausts me. Like maybe once a week, 3-4 times a month, or 3-4 times a night.
But I mean, every night.
Every night, that's excessive.
You're just like blowing out dust at that point. Like, what's
this isn't
on?
A 16-year-old boy. This is like, probably a 40-year-old man.
I'm also wondering about how
50.
contraception would have worked during this time because, like,
I don't think they had it.
They never mentioned her getting pregnant in any of this. I just think about this right now.
I can guarantee she's probably having a lot of abortions.
Yeah.
But I don't think they had.
Maybe the syphilis stopped it too. Doesn't syphilis make it really hard for you to conceive? Maybe.
I don't know.
But anyways,
I've never really looked into that.
Sada asked Kinosuke to leave his wife for her, and he refused.
Of course he did.
So then he was like, all right, what if I took in another lover? Because he wasn't doing it for her anymore, and he also refused. When their relationship ended, Sada escaped by leaving to Nagayo to start a new life. Because I don't think like he was going to let her go very easily.
Okay.
So that's why she just left.
So
she was
he's
like, fuck this shit.
So she's his mistress. And she's like, well, let me have another man. And he's like, no.
Yeah.
And she's like,
you won't leave your wife for me, but then you won't let me have another lover. Yeah. So what the fuck is basically, I'm over this. So he would later say about Sada, she is a slut and a whore. As what she has done makes clear, she's a woman whom men should fear.
Well,
he's bitter, though.
It's very sad that this is pre-vibrators because, I mean, that's really all she needed. She just needed to have a couple orgasms.
Yeah, and that was it. Maybe she just wasn't getting orgasms. That's why she needed
Yeah, that's why she needed the 3 to 4 times.
Because she only got it off once a night, and then who knows? Who knows?
Although, I do understand the whole needing her hands on her privates through the whole night. That's a like childhood trauma, sexual trauma type deal. That could be a comfort thing for her.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
I can sort of understand that.
Yeah.
But it, everything else is a little excessive.
Well, Sada similarly had a very negative view of Kinosuke, saying about him, he didn't love me and treated me like an animal. He was the kind of scum who would plead with me when I said that we should break up. And I think that's why she left for Nagoya, because she just couldn't deal with it.
Yeah.
In 1935, in Nagoya, Sada again attempted to leave the sex industry and worked as a maid at a restaurant. And I don't know if a maid at a restaurant is different than a waitress. I think they're one of those people who like are kind of like pseudo geishas, where they sit next to the guys and like, you know,
they probably just
pour tea, or maybe like pour tea and like flirt and stuff.
Yeah.
Because then this is where she met her next romantic involvement, Goro Omuya, a professor and a banker who had, I guess, dreams of becoming a politician as well.
Well, you're not going to be a politician when you're banging a syphilis geisha.
Well, knowing that she couldn't have a sexual relations with clients, which is why I think that, you know, she might have been one of those people pouring tea. Sada returned to Tokyo, where Goro met her. In January 1936, Goro suggested to Sada to open a small restaurant and become financially independent.
I mean,
yeah, he was really trying to help her.
Hey, you know what? You can't fuck all the men, so why don't you start your own business and hire other girls to fuck the men?
Yeah.
You know how to run it.
She knows the ins and outs of the industry
smart.
At this point. Yeah.
Instead of being head geisha, why don't you be, or instead of being the top geisha, why don't you be the head geisha?
So, or 30 at this point. So she, you know,
totally could.
You're getting older
she comes
now.
From a prominent
too.
family.
Well, they're poor now. That's the problem.
I mean, they're poor now, but she does.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's people that know people.
So Sada began an apprenticeship at the Yoshidaya restaurant on February 1st, 1936.
Oh.
So the 1936 is the year where everything just goes everywhere for her. This is the year. This is the rest. The rest of the story is this
1936 was quite a year in Japan.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
The 30s were rocking all over the world.
Because the war.
Holy shit! There's still 3.
I told you.
Sorry.
This is like when shit goes down, and I have so many things, and you're gonna.
Okay.
Oh my god.
All right.
This is where she met Kichizo Ishida, who was a well-known womanizer who did little running the business.
Okay, so she's still with the one dude, right?
She is still with the other
Okay, so
dude.
she's with the one dude that said, "Hey, start your own
business,"
place.
and then that's when she starts working as an apprentice in a restaurant.
Yes.
Who's owned by Kichizo.
Okay.
But he's also a womanizer.
Yeah.
And he's like not really working, so his wife is doing all the work at this point for the restaurant, like running it and stuff.
Okay.
Kichizo made heavy advances to Sada, which she would give into, as Goro never sexually fulfilled her. Never all the way, at least.
Yeah.
They had their first sexual encounter on April 23rd, 1936.
Oh my god, I love that. It's like I'm picturing she's like writing in her journal, like dear journal.
And like
I finally
blossoms.
had sex tonight
at a love hotel in the Shibuya neighborhood, which lasted 4 days.
I'm sorry, she had sex for 4 days?
4 straight days. But that's not all. Because on
Damn.
April 27th, they moved to another tea house, which is a love hotel, in Futaku Tamagawa neighborhood, where they continued to drink and have tons of sex. Kichizo would not return to the restaurant until May 8th, 1936.
I'm sorry. He was
2
gone.
weeks.
He was gone off fucking this girl for 2 weeks.
2 straight weeks.
Oh wow, that wife must be pissed.
They don't actually talk about the wife. Like they
Oh.
never. I don't know if they didn't
I mean,
interview her, or maybe the wife doesn't care because she already knows.
I mean, it's a different time. Men were always just fucking everything.
And he was known to be fucking as many women as possible. But
I
maybe she
mean,
didn't know that he was fucking one girl for 2
How
weeks.
much fucking sea urchin or whatever weird sea creature was he eating?
Sea urchin doesn't make you.
I don't know.
I think it's I don't even know.
There's
something.
There's something.
I think it's seahorse dust or something that makes you. I don't know. It's super stupid.
I know oysters are supposed to be an aphrodisiac, but whatever.
Yeah.
People just thought if they ate something, it would make them hornier.
It's like slimy, and it's like reminds you of a vagina.
It's just like, no.
Sada would later say about Kichizo, it's hard to say exactly what was so good about Kichizo.
The dick.
But it was impossible to say anything about his looks, his attitude, his skill as a lover, the way he expressed his feelings. Like, it was impossible to say anything negative about it.
Yeah.
I had never met such a sexy man.
Dude was probably like 12 plus inches.
No, I talk about the penis size later.
Okay.
Got all of it.
All right.
Sada,
wow.
That's why I
what kind of podcast is this? We apologize. We don't normally have sex stories.
I did though. I told you I was going back to my roots.
That's okay. I love these.
Sada would become incredibly jealous because, he leaves after 2 weeks, and for an entire week he doesn't contact her.
Dude was getting she was getting mad orgasms
for 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks straight.
And then just cut off.
Yeah, I'd be pissed too. Like, bring back that magic dick.
So she convinced herself that he went back to his wife and bought a kitchen knife with the money she received from pawning some of her clothes.
Oh no.
A place she attended where the geisha taxed her lover with a large knife inspired this purchase.
No, she's not.
On May 11th,
oh no,
Sada met with Kichizo.
Okay.
I pulled the kitchen knife out of my bag and threatened him, as had been done in the play I had seen, saying, "Kichi, you wore that kimono just to please one of your favorite customers. You bastard, I'll kill you for that." Kichizo was startled and drew away a little, but then he seemed delighted with all of it. So he was into it.
He's like, yeah, you know what? He probably did get a little turned on. I got a little turned on sitting here thinking of someone in a kimono.
I'm just letting you know that there's way more stuff.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Their lovemaking now had knife play and asphyxiation as the nights of their reunion progressed.
Oh, okay.
So after the knife play was added in,
that escalated real quick.
The knife play is added in, and then you start choking. You're like, oh man, if you choke and you lose oxygen, the orgasms are better, and all that stuff, right?
Wow, they're really escalating.
So,
but hey, you know what? If you know what you like, get it.
On May 16th, 1936. Sada cut off Kichizo with her obi sash, which is just like the sash used for a kimono.
I'm sorry, cut off?
Yeah, like cut off his oxygen.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
So she's strangling him.
Yeah, during orgasm, which they both enjoyed.
Yes.
They continued this sexual play for 2 more hours.
Okay.
Kichizo's face became distorted after the strangulation stopped, and it took 30 tablets of sedative called Calmatin for his pain.
I'm sorry.
He took 30 tablets of a pill because he was in so much pain after,
Okay,
this.
so
I've never been choked, so I don't know what it.
So she choked him, and then
afterwards, it hurt so much.
It hurt so much, so he took 30 tablets of pain medication. That's excessive. 30 of anything is too much of that one thing.
Jokingly, Kichizo said the next time she should just strangle him to death because it hurt so much when she stopped.
Oh my gosh.
You know where this is going.
Oh my gosh.
But you don't know because it gets better.
Oh gosh. Okay.
On May 18th at 2 a.m., as Kichizo was asleep, Sada wrapped her sash around his neck twice and strangled him to death.
What? Well, she wasn't even fucking him. Maybe she's about to. I should brace myself.
It seemed as though Sada came to a realization that Kichizo would never leave his family for her, and she couldn't bear to be parted with him.
Oh.
After I killed Kichizo, I felt totally at ease, as though a heavy burden had been lifted from my shoulders, and I felt a sense of clarity.
No, a lot of serial killers say that.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people that kill people say that. Like, after they killed someone,
they feel like
like a total sense of calming. And I'm just sort of like, I don't want to kill anybody.
Well, you're gonna like this.
I want to know what chemical your brain releases.
You want to ask this question after this next part.
Okay.
After lying next to Kichizo's dead body for a few hours, she took a kitchen knife and cut off his genitals.
Okay, yeah. sort of foresaw the cutting off the genitals, which is why I was confirming that when you said that she cut off Corazon with the.
Well, she wrapped his penis and testicles because it wasn't just penis or genitals.
She took the
both
giblets too
in a magazine cover and would carry it with her until she was later caught. So she had it on her.
In a magazine cover. I thought she was gonna like put it in like.
I don't think she was that. I don't think she planned that kind of stuff, So you want to put it in paper. In his blood, she wrote, "We, Sada, and Kichishida are alone." Wrote it on his left thigh and on the bedsheet with his blood. She also carved Sada into his left arm.
Oh, wow! She really needs some love.
Well, she left the inn, telling the inn people to like leave him alone for a bit. Yeah, just give her time. And then she met with Goro to apologize.
That's her second lover, right?
That's the one who told her to go and open up a restaurant because he had ambitions of starting a political career. Goro assumed that she was apologizing for taking in another lover, but later came to realize that she was apologizing for ruining his political career with his association with her. It did.
I mean, yes, but I'm sure she was probably apologizing for.
It was because of what's gonna happen to him.
Oh, really?
Knows. She's because she's still alive. So
yeah, but
she wrote a lot of memoirs.
She's like, hey, sorry,
a lot of this is in her own words
okay.
because she did write like a lot of memoirs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The discovery of Kichizo's body caused a national sensation, with police receiving multiple reports of Sada sightings in various cities because people were like, this bitch is cutting off people's penises and genitals and running around with testicles in her fucking, purse or whatever. So
they wouldn't have really known about the testicles in the purse yet.
Well, I think they did find his body and they're missing.
But they didn't know that she had them in her purse.
Yeah, no. But at the same time, it's like, holy shit, right? The discovery.
That's syphilis, man. Well, syphilis does fuck with your head. It does give you brain damage. Yeah,
and that's what I was trying to think of. Like, I wonder how much the syphilis really affected her. Because she didn't get,
Because she got that syphilis pretty young.
Yeah. Like when she was, I think, like 20.
Definitely eating away at her brain for sure. But anyway.
On May 20th, Sada wrote farewell letters and had already made plans to commit suicide. She planned to do it a week after murder on May 25th. During this time on the run, she practiced necrophilia, which is full circle of my cutting the penis off and necrophilia.
Oh my God! So
connected both my stories together.
She was masturbating with the dude's. It's not even hard.
Don't worry.
It's all soft.
I got her words and description.
Oh my God! Yes.
For you.
This is
why it's so long.
This is my porn. Give it to me, Angela.
I felt attached to Kichizo's penis and thought that only after taking leave from it quietly can I then die. I unwrapped the paper holding them and gazed at his penis and scrotum. I put his penis in my mouth and even tried to insert it inside me. It didn't work. However, though, I kept trying and trying. Then I decided that I would flee to Osaka, staying with Kichizo's penis all the while. In the end, I would jump from a cliff on Mount Ikoma while holding onto his penis.
Oh my God. What was the sex like with him?
I don't know. She does talk about it, though.
He must have rocked her world.
Well, she talks about like how much he rocked her world, though, right? Like she talks about like how he was the best.
Clearly.
But I just like the fact that like I did a necrophilia one and I did a penis cutting one, and then this one like just combined both of them.
Taking everything in me, not to say chewy penis.
Chewy. Well, she didn't eat it.
But she put it. She put it in her mouth, and I was instantly like, chewy penis.
At 4 p.m., the police came to her room. This was a coincidence, as they weren't actually looking for her, but been doing a routine check on a false name in the hotel registry. So when she opens the door, she tells them, if you're looking for Sada, it's me. And they don't believe her until she shows them the penis and the testicles.
What? They didn't believe you, girl. You could have gone away with it. No. And you're like, no, really, I'm Sada. Look, I have the I have the
Here
penis.
you go.
Here you go. This is me. Do you want proof?
Do you want proof?
Here's
the
the
penis.
Here's the stick and berries that I stole. If you take it, you'll probably be able to match it up with the dead body that you have.
Yeah. But if not, you just still wonder why I have just. So they believed her after she.
I would. Could you imagine if they did?
So funny.
This bitch just walking around with some fake scrotum. Oh my gosh.
During interrogation, Sada came to life as she talked about Kichizo. I loved him so much. I wanted him all to myself. But since we were not husband and wife, as long as he lived, he could be embraced by other women. I knew that if I killed him, no other woman could ever touch him again. So I killed him. So rumors circulated that Kichizo's penis size would be like fucking giant, right? Because like he's that great of a lover, and this girl who's like been looking for a lover that's gonna satiate like her fucking, you know. But then no, the interrogators said that Kichizo was just average. Sada told me size doesn't make a man. Technique and his desire to please me were what I liked about Kichizo. Yeah. And that's how I knew his penis was of average size.
I mean, now, are they going by when it was flaccid and all dead? Because he could be a grower and not a shower.
But he asked her like what the size was like, so she would know what it looked like hard.
So,
and she's seen a lot.
Average.
Well, she was.
Yeah,
and she's also seen a
lot of penises. Yes. No, and it is true to men. Of
if you know how to use it, that's what
knowing
matters
how
more.
to use it means more, and vaginal sex isn't the only kind of sex.
Yes.
There's other ways to be sexual with someone that doesn't necessarily include penetration. And maybe he was lighting her up in all sorts of different ways.
Maybe that's why she wanted the dick.
Yeah.
She thought that it would come to life inside of her somehow.
She was coming to life when it was inside her.
She was definitely crazy.
She definitely was.
Yeah. There's a certain amount of mental instability and everything that went on.
You already had a lover, and then you took another lover
because he wasn't enough.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Nothing was enough for this girl.
All of her lovers were people though who already had wives. It seemed like.
Yeah, I think you needed to find someone that was maybe a little bit more available.
Yeah, but then she didn't like them.
Well,
because she obviously had many lovers, or as a sex worker, she would have had a lot of clients. So
yes, a lot of clients.
So on November 25th, 1936, at 5 a.m., a giant crowd had already formed for Sada's first day in court. Because at this point, she has become somewhat of a celebrity as the crime was completely sensationalized.
Yeah.
And it would be anywhere, I think. You carry around, it's not enough to just cut off someone's penis and testicles, but to carry it around with you.
The daughter of a previously prominent family.
Yeah. But on top
fall
of that,
from grace.
And on top of that, just the fact that you carried it around with you. Not just like threw it away or just left it because you're angry.
It's next level.
Yeah.
It's next level.
So
the removal of penis, period, is next level.
Well, this kind of goes back to what you said, because the judge presiding over the trial admitted that some of the details involved in the case made him sexually aroused. But the trial would be held with the utmost seriousness. And at least he was honest, because it's like, he probably just listening to all the sex she was having, and then...
Yeah, we're talking about a girl that just couldn't get enough fucking sex.
Yeah.
Like, men are going to get turned on by that.
And I wonder if any of that had to do with the syphilis.
I mean, it could be. And it could just be like, she just...
A really high sex drive. Yeah.
Like, she craved... I think that she was conditioned... She may have eventually got conditioned to crave a certain feeling, and she needed that feeling, or she was just like that's all that she's worth, was just like, having sex. It's the only thing that she knew that she could do, or what was good. She was good for.
Well, sort of in line with what you're saying, before sentencing, Sada said, the thing I regret the most about this incident is that I have become to be misunderstood as some kind of sexual pervert. There has never been a man in my life like Ashida, There were men I liked and with whom I slept without accepting money, but none made me feel the way I did towards him.
Yeah.
So it wasn't. It was about like that feeling that he gave her.
Yeah. No. She made him feel alive. He made her feel alive. No, I get that. Not to the degree that she obviously feels it, but
it was. Yeah. It was definitely like a. It was very like heated. Let's say that heated penis cutting. Sada was convicted of second-degree murder and mutilation of a corpse.
That's too bad, because it sort of feels like, I mean, well, actually, he probably wouldn't agree to it. It's not the same thing with the other guy. Where it's like, no, I'll totally be down
you can
with
eat
you
me. Yeah, it's totally
killing
fine.
and eating me.
The prosecution demanded 10 years, and Sada claimed that she wanted the death penalty because she just really wanted to die at this point.
Yeah.
Which is what she had planned for.
Yeah.
But she was sentenced to 6 years in prison and was released exactly 5 years after the murder on May 17th, 1941.
Good behavior?
I don't know. I think she was like prisoner number 11 in the women's prison she was at, so there just weren't that many women prisoners anyways.
Yeah.
And this was during World War II, because World War II didn't end until 1945, so they had better things to do than deal with her at this point.
God, how many times do you think she was raped in that jail?
Well, it was a women's jail.
That doesn't mean
That's
shit.
True.
That doesn't mean shit at all. If anything, it just means she'll get raped more.
Yeah.
Because it's not like they have women guards, and it's the World War II. Like
World War II started in 1939, so it was like 3 years after she had been in prison. But I don't really know what happened.
Yeah, but World War I didn't end until 1945.
Yeah, so it was like 2. But then she was released in 1941, so she was released 2 years after the war had started.
Yeah,
so yeah.
That's what I'm saying though. Is that like
who knows?
Men were not nice.
So the police record of Sada's interrogation became a bestseller.
Really?
Yes, because she was very vivid and very descriptive of a lot of things.
I can't believe they sold that.
Why not, right? You need money.
Yeah, but still.
After her release, Sada assumed an alias and became a mistress of a serious man, which she doesn't name. Identified as Y in her memoirs, she broke up with Y after his friends and family found out that she was Sada, which I get. I mean, yeah, I would tell my friend too. Like, you probably shouldn't be with that girl who cut off that guy's dick.
Yeah, she seems a little crazy and obsessive.
Yeah, just a little bit.
She'll ruin your career.
So before World War II, she was depicted as an example of an unbridled she was an example of unbridled female sexuality and a threat to the patriarchal system.
Yeah.
Because she was. But after World War II...
Look at this woman who wants more sex than men do.
Yeah, like how
can we live with women who want more sex than men do?
You can't.
That's basically all it is. Yeah. Like, how can we have someone that wants more sex than we do?
But after World War II, because they're kind of like, they're trying to like get off this whole thing where, they did a lot of shitty things, wishing to divert public attention from politics and criticism of the occupying authorities. The government encouraged the 3S policy: sports, screens, and sex.
Yeah, because now they've just got done killing all these people. And now they have their people now have PTSD.
They need something.
Now they need to have the sex to feel better.
So Sada became a symbol of freedom from oppressive political ideologies and a critic of totalitarianism.
Of course she did.
In 1946, writer Eingo Sakaguchi interviewed Sada and treated her as an authority of both sexuality and freedom, which I don't know if she is. It's just, I don't know. But she was such a big figure, so I think they just used her because she was already, like, everyone already knew who she was.
Yeah, she's just a prominent name.
Eingo called her a tender, warm figure of salvation for future generations. Please don't cut off anyone's penis, anyone listening to this. Please don't.
What? There's nothing tender about her.
She was so sweet.
She was so sweet. All she did was just want sex, and she just loved him so much.
But the good thing of the end of World War II, besides a ton of other good things, but it also gave Sada a new lease in life because she got penicillin, which freed her from syphilis.
And then,
and from her inevitable death and going insane from syphilis.
Well, she arguably could have already been there.
Yeah.
But good for her that she was able to get the penicillin and then could enjoy having sex again.
She will go on to write several memoirs and tour around Japan for several years, appearing on stage as herself in a play based on the incident.
What? Well, you know what? I guess she got her fame.
Imagine if like someone like Mary Kay Letourneau did that. Right?
That's the most Japanese. Like, she got to star in the play of her murdering somebody.
Yep.
And it sold out. It was so great. It's so American. Like, it's so American that it would never happen in America, because we're just like, no, you can't do that.
That
fucking OJ
Simpson
Simpson wanted to write a book, and we were like, no.
Yeah, and if he did a play on, oh my god, if he played himself in that Ryan Murphy like trial, oh my god, that'd be oh my god. Anyways, so Sada remains a popular subject in film, plays, and books. Which totally can see that.
Yeah, it's a shocking tale.
Yeah. She disappeared from the public eye in 1970. So director Nagisha Oshima of In the Realm of Senses, which is one of the most popular movies based on her life, decided to search for the subject of his film in the mid-1970s. He actually found her with her hair all cut off in a Kansai nunnery, which is like a Buddhist temple. So she became a monk.
Yeah, I can...
She just kind of disappeared. And that was the last reported sighting of Sada, which is why it's like she's dead. We just don't know when she died. We don't really know whatever happened to her afterwards.
You know what? Even though she had the penicillin and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure the syphilis probably
still really affected her.
So her becoming a monk isn't shocking.
Just kind of getting away from all of it after like all the sensationalism around her life. So she remains a popular figure to write about. But I have this last tidbit about Kichizo's penis and testicles.
Are they on display?
They were at the Tokyo University Medical School Pathology Museum and on public display soon after the end of World War II, but has since disappeared.
They've disappeared. Oh, I wonder if she took them. I wonder if they're buried together.
Like, what if she fucking took them and then
what if
she went to the nunnery?
Did? Or somebody else, like someone else went and
it got it for her and sent it to her, and then that's why she's at the nunnery with like his, and she's married to his penis now.
And they're like buried together.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that would be
that's what I was thinking.
Crazy. That would be so amazing.
And that's my story.
I want that so much.
And that's what I wanted to think. Like, she's with his penis now.
Yeah.
They don't talk about his wife, about like how his wife felt about any of this.
Who cares? No one cares.
It was really long because I had to go through like her life story, but yeah.
No, that was a great story.
Thank you.
I loved it. Thanks for sharing it with me. It's not what I have never heard that story. Definitely not what they based Memoirs of a Geisha on.
No, she doesn't cut off his penis and testicles and have sex with it. That's weird.
No, she gets the guy in the end. As they do.
In
stories.
Not in this. Well,
she did get the guy in the end.
She got till him. His dying breath.
Yeah.
Got him.
She got him. All right. Well, we're going to talk about another badass bitch over on my end.
Yes. I don't know if she's a badass bitch, but she's bad.
I guess. Mine also are arguable if you want to say if she's a badass or just bad. So I'm going to tell you the story of Olga of Kiev.
Okay.
And we're going far back to the late 800s, early 900s. But the story doesn't, to me, the timeline doesn't really matter, the year it happened, because the story's fucking timeless. Much like yours. I think your story's pretty timeless too. So the majority of the story is from a compilation of works called the Primary Chronicle. Mm-hmm. And it is the interpretation of history of Eastern Slavs from 850 to 1110. Is that how you would have pronounced that year? 1110? 1110?
Yeah. Or 1110. Yeah. Whatever.
And it was written by a monk named Nestor. And I like that. A monk named Nestor.
And I think Nestor's a good name.
Yeah. Nestor is a good name.
Should name your future child Nestor.
Let's bring that back.
Get your boyfriend to agree. How about Nestor?
Nestor? There's some controversy over the actual dates and years because the book was written like 200 years after the history was actually like happened.
Yeah. It's never accurate when it's like way after.
And like when you go by the actual dates here, she would have been at least 60 when she had her first son. So it's sort of like is it actually, was she actually born here? So I'm going to go by the dates that were in the book or in the chronicle. But just know they don't make any sense. And so if you're one of those people that tries to do the math, the math isn't going to work. Mm-hmm. Can't do anything about that.
Don't follow it.
Yeah, just try not to. Okay, so Olga was reportedly born in Pskov, Rus, which I imagine is short for Russia because it wasn't Russia yet.
Oh, yeah.
And 879. And this lucky little girl, she grows up and meets and falls in love with Igor, the prince of Kievan Rus, sorry. And the two get married in 903. And in 914, Igor finally turns of age, and he becomes the ruler of Kievan Rus, and the two reign together for a wonderful 30 years. Okay, so, but it really wasn't all that wonderful because it's the 900s, and, you know, it's just nothing but war because that's all that was happening during that time. And
because there's no other form of entertainment besides war.
Yeah, it's just war and murder and uncivilized civilizations.
Yeah.
And Igor was pretty good at keeping rule. He was pretty good at winning wars. He was even able to besiege Constantinople twice, which, if you remember from one of my previous throwback stories, became impenetrable, probably because Igor kept coming in and fucking shit up. But he was able to break that shit down twice, so he was pretty good. And then in 945, war started getting super expensive, although I'm sure it was expensive the entire time. He was running out of money. And so Igor goes and he starts collecting up some tributes. And while he's off on his like gold collecting run, he runs into a tribe, or he heads over to a tribe of Drevlians. And the Drevlians are a tribe that used to have rule over Rus, pre-Russia. But then Igor's father came in and he decided that Kiev was going to be the ruler of Rus. And so they kicked the Drevlins out and then made the Drevlins pay tribute. So when the father died, they were like, fuck you, we're not going to pay tribute anymore. So Igor comes in, he's like, hey, so I know you used to pay my dad taxes, but you haven't been for the last 50, 60 years. So I'd really like for you to like
pay all the back taxes as well, right?
And the back taxes too. And the Drevlins, who obviously hated the Kievans because they believed that they should be the true rulers, was like, ha ha ha, no. And they attack him and then they knock him out. And then reportedly by some fishermen, they tell the tale about how they saw them bend two birch trees down, tie a tree to each end of Igor, then let the tree straighten up, resulting in his body being ripped apart.
That's so crazy.
And flown about.
Imagine like the people who think up this stuff though, because I
love ancient like torture and ancient killing methods because it's just like
I feel like
they're
so bored, so like you have to be creative in some way. So murder is a great way to be creative in.
Think of how easy it is to just kill a human.
Yeah.
And here they were just like, you know what?
Let's make him really suffer.
Let's slingshot them by tying. Like, I wonder what will happen if we just like rip him apart with trees. So he dies pretty gruesome. And like he's essentially the ruler of Kiev, Russia. So or Rus. So it's a big deal. And so word gets back to Olga. And Olga loved Igor. They just spent 30 years together, 30 plus years together. She's been back ruling the castle with her 3-year-old son, and like and this is like a late birth if you're going by the years, she's probably like 60 years old and has a 3-year-old.
Yeah, she's been married for that long to have a 3-year-old. You're like, how did that even happen? That's crazy.
Having lots of sex.
She had like the fucking uterus of a 20-year-old.
Yeah, I don't really know, but either way, she has a son. But because the king has died and her son's only 3, she is now ruler of Kiev. And much like even current times, other countries, especially the Drevlians, were not okay with a woman in lead. However, the Kievian army, they supported her because they really loved Igor, and she had been ruling for 30 years and she was a pretty good queen, and it was just until her son came up. But everyone was like, we don't like a woman. So they neighboring factions would like be like, hey, marry this man. Hey, marry this man. And she
didn't need no man to fucking run a country.
I don't need you. You just want to steal like the land because
and she's
really
with like this person she actually loved for a long time. She doesn't want to fucking taint the marriage, like sink them. Oh, fuck that shit.
And really, they just wanted to steal the throne from her kid.
Yeah.
And she was trying to preserve the throne for her only child because it was her only heir. It was Igor's only son, and she just loved him so much.
So Igor had daughters as well?
No.
Oh, okay. So
they only had one child.
Okay.
It was his only son and his only child, and it was the only heir left of this like dynasty. So it was super important. She was like, no, I'm gonna be a good wife. She didn't need as much dick as your girl did.
She didn't need to be perpetually having sex all the time.
And then one day, a group of Drevlians, so the people that had killed the king, they show up and they send 20 of their best men, and they're just like, listen, we know that we killed your husband, and like, we're really sorry about that, but you don't need to be over here being the regent of Kiev.
Wow.
That's not a womanly job. Come marry our prince, be our queen,
and then we'll rule both together.
And you just let the men rule. And when your son is older, he can rule the Drevlians,
even though he definitely wouldn't, because then she would definitely.
They definitely would have killed that kid, like
immediately, and she knew that.
Yeah, because they just wanted the power, right? They just wanted like the head crown. They probably would have killed her right away. And so Olga's clearly like, she's not dumb. No, she's like, you're gonna like kill all my stuff, and so what does she do? She has all those men burned alive.
Good.
And as she's watching the men die, she realizes, hey, you know what? This feels pretty good. Killing people who murdered my husband makes me feel really, really good. Let's do some more of this. Yes. So she devises a plan, and she sends word to the Prince Mal of Drevlian that she has accepted his marriage proposal. Oh my God. But she doesn't really feel safe traveling, and she asks if he would be willing to send his most distinguished men to accompany her on his journey there.
So smart.
So that she can feel safe, you know, just this fragile woman and a young boy out on the roads
It's
alone.
so dangerous for them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In the 900s, of course. Someone might attack them.
Well, she is a queen, right? Yes. So she has all the money.
Yes. An important queen. And Prince Mal is like, yes, I'll send everyone you need. And he does. All his best dignitaries, the lords of his land, like all the top high-end
trying to really
people.
impress her.
Really trying to impress her. And when they arrive, Olga greets them warmly. And she says, oh, you must be so cold and tired from your trip. Please have a nice warm bath in my bathhouse. And she shoves all 20 people in there. And then she locks the door and burns the bathhouse to the ground. And then she sends word back to Prince Mal. She's like, before I can come marry you, I must hold a funeral service for my dead husband because I need to mourn him properly before I marry you and then become your wife. I need to mourn my dead wife or my dead husband. And Mal is again like, no problem. Have your feast. then come on over. I'll let my people know, and they can show up, have a good time. We'll we'll be able to reunite our lands. It'll be great. And so the people show up, they have a little feast, and then after the feast, after everyone's all full on love and food and drunk on whatever booze they had back then, because I don't really know, wasn't really sure if it'd be wine, probably.
I Game of Thrones. So
yeah. Well, I also did a Game of Thrones reference. Olga orders her soldiers to kill everyone at the feast, total Red Wedding style.
Yes.
In total, Olga's soldiers killed over 5,000 men.
That's amazing.
Just slaughtered them all, bunch of killing. And as she stood in her grand hall, covered in the blood of these 5,000 men, she looked around and thought, you know what? It's not enough.
No, it's never enough.
I haven't avenged Igor enough. I have to destroy all of them. I have to wipe out all of them. Yes. They all have to die. That's the only way to make me feel better. And so she prepares her army to go. So
all the women and children too, just kill all of them.
Everyone.
Every single one. Good.
But the word had already gotten back to the Drevlins that Olga's been like up here killing people and burning shit to the ground, and clearly didn't want to marry the prince.
Yep.
And the survivors were pleading and begging for her to have mercy on them and to stop and please don't kill us. And so she's like, think about it. I will spare you, but only if you provide me 3 pigeons and 3 sparrows from your home. She said that to everybody. And everyone was like, all I got to do is give you 6 birds to live. Fine. I'll give you the birds. So weeks later, after all the birds have arrived, all the pigeons and the sparrows, arrive in Kiev, Olga orders her army to tie sulfur and cotton cloth to each bird's legs. And then they release them all into the night, and all of the birds fly back to Drevlian, and then everything just catches on fire.
That's amazing.
Because the birds lived in the eaves of the little straw huts, because it's the 900s, and that's what they were building their huts with, wood and straw. And everything gets set up ablaze all at the same time, and they can't get the fire out because everything's just burning down.
That's so fucking smart.
Yes. Well, a little tidbit. The Americans tried to do this in World War II, or they were going to do this in World War II with the Japanese. I guess they did a successful run with bats or something like that, but then they opted not to, and they dropped a bomb instead. And well, we all know how that worked out.
So great.
Yes. But I don't know if she was the first one to do this. But she was the one that was sort of quoted with the World War II and the Americans, where they were where they wanted to use animals to go and do it.
Somehow
because it was successful.
Seems more humane to use bats than a bomb, even though I guess there'll be more creatures. I don't care. It just sounds more humane to do something with bats.
I mean, I think it's probably better to do it with a bomb and then wipe them all out really quickly.
But then it's like residual, radiation forever. So whereas the bats, it's a
but I mean that bat could that bat could shit somewhere, and then that pig eats the bat shit, and then all of a sudden you're killing the whole fucking planet because you have some airborne disease. I watched a movie about that once. It was just,
I was like, what would be in the bat shit?
You have to watch this movie. I think it was called it might have been called Contagion. I don't really know. It's definitely within the last 10 years, but it was about some flu that basically went and and it killed contagion. Everybody. And at the very end, you found out that it was a bat shit, and a pig ate that shit, and then that pig was slaughtered at a restaurant, and then they served that dead infected pig to somebody, and then she ate it and then killed basically the whole planet because
it's just so crazy to me. Yeah, I'm just how would that happen?
But it was I remember when I first watched it, I was like, that's insane. But I was like, wait, holy shit, is that how that fucking works? And
maybe that's how zombie apocalypse.
That's how AIDS happened. We learned about that. It was
not
a
airborne.
Fucking monkey.
That's why it's really that's
airborne,
that's the one thing that confuses me is the airborneness of it. I guess.
Yeah, I don't really know how airborne stuff but airborne diseases
is so much scarier because of that.
Scare me a lot more.
And that's why it always scares me when they're trying to weaponize diseases.
Yeah.
It's just like you're making it airborne, which makes it so much more worse. So you can't At least you can sort of control AIDS because it is a sexually transmitted disease or blood.
Yeah, it's blood,
blood transmission. So at least it's like, well, there is a way that you can.
If you keep your blood in your body and you make sure that no other fluid gets into your body, you're safe.
Yeah.
But you will never know for sure what you're inhaling.
No.
Ever.
No.
And it is.
That's why airborne diseases scare me the most.
Yeah, they scare me. Okay, so but Olga didn't stop there, because after she released the birds, she also sent her army to surround the perimeter of the town. And as the people fled from their burning homes, they gunned them down.
Oh, they had guns back then?
Yeah.
What? I don't know when guns were invented. That's why I actually don't know.
Well, they were shot.
So I don't know if it was like an arrow.
I mean, it may be arrows.
I don't know why. I imagine like Lord of the Rings for some reason, but I'm pretty sure. I don't even know how old 900. It just seems so old.
I mean, it may have been. Well, whatever. They were.
Shot.
She had to get. They were shot.
Yeah.
Some they were captured. The ones that she did capture, she ended up executing, or she sold into slavery. Maybe they didn't have guns. Maybe they just like stabbed them and cut them up.
I just thought it was bow and arrow style.
Yeah. I mean, maybe. They killed them all.
I'm really bad at history, so I don't know.
Yeah. And as a final act of revenge, she ordered the army to burn down whatever was left to the ground, thus completely wiping out all of the Drevlian people, and the Drevlians were no more.
Just complete annihilation of an entire country or city.
So. Well, yeah, like a village, city, like
a population.
Sometimes it was referred to.
Yeah.
It was referred to as a tribe. Sometimes they were referred to as a city. Sometimes it was just a village. Like it was all over the place. It's the 900s. It's not very big. Now, before you go thinking, oh my gosh, Stephanie, this woman is so horrible. How could she live with herself after murdering all those people? Well, I'll tell you. She found Christianity. And she was found baptized.
Jesus. Oh my gosh.
Jesus forgave her for all of her sins.
This is like everyone you talk to.
Yes. Christianity is just coming in and sweeping through. But she was even later ordained as a saint in Roman Catholicism.
Mm-hmm.
I was reading it, but I was like, it doesn't sound how it spells, Stephanie. Roman Catholicism
I did it all the time,
and Russian Orthodoxy. She was actually the first ruler of Rus, not Russia.
So is she Saint Olga then?
Yes.
Oh.
She is the patron saint of widows and converts because she was a widow and she fucking went and killed everybody, and then she converted to Christianity. Her son, who ended up like being like the ruler, he didn't like her Christianity. He was very opposed to it. He wanted to keep the nation pagan. But she was successful in converting her grandson, Vladimir the Great, who would eventually making Christianity the official language, the official religion of Rus in the 980s.
And it's still like that now. I
guess.
Guess.
Like Russia, I'm pretty sure Christianity is still the main religion in Russia.
I don't know anything about that.
I mean, Catholicism kind of like took over and like swept. I would imagine that they're more.
They took a lot of European countries. So
I would imagine that Russia is probably more Christian than Hindu.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, what other religions are there out there? There's Hinduism,
and they're definitely not Buddhist.
Christianity.
Definitely not Buddhist.
They're definitely not Buddhists.
They're definitely not Muslims.
No.
And they're not Jewish.
No.
That's for sure.
So it's probably Russian Orthodox.
You know what? Russian Orthodox sounds right.
Yeah.
So it's probably, that's exactly what it is.
So, so her son ended up bringing Christianity, but she was the first ruler to ever convert to Christianity or to bring Christianity into that area. And so that was my cool little story on
that's so great.
on revenge.
I love it.
Hell hath no fury like a woman in mourning, because she wasn't really scorned. She was in mourning. I guess she was probably really pissed off when they were like, "Hey, you can't do this job," and she was like, fucking watch me."
See, we didn't even plan this, but we chose two crazier women who did lots of things.
We did killer women.
Killer
women episode.
Yeah. We didn't even mean to. We just did.
Not from the Americas.
Well, I started a different story and it made me like sad and I didn't want to do it anymore. So I changed to this story because it made me less sad.
I would have a story half written. I stopped writing it after I realized, oh my God, Stephanie, you're doing another Canadian murder. You just did one. You can't do two Canadian murders back to back.
Well, you can. You are Canadian. A lot of people do American murders back to back. So doing Canadian murder back to back isn't that bad.
But then I heard about this patron saint and I was just like, this bitch burned villages to the fucking ground.
And became a saint.
And then was like, well, I'll just go find Christianity and he'll absolve me of my...
Well, that's what Catholics do, right?
Yeah.
You do sin, and you go to confession, and then you're absolved of your sin by doing a couple of prayers and giving money.
And I usually talk about how men do that. It's usually the men that went and found Christianity and absolved them. But this time I found a woman, and I thought it was pretty good. So hope you guys liked my story.
Enlightened you. It's actually enlightened and liked.
It was enjoyed. I was going to say enjoyed, but then I switched to liked halfway. Because I'm like
good word. It's a good word. It's like children.
Children. Well, children makes sense because it's killing children.
I think I was trying to say kids and then children, and it was definitely just like I don't know what I'm saying anymore.
Children. It was great. Yeah. I loved it. It was my favorite word. Alrighty. Well, that's it for this episode.
Email us if you have any interesting stories you would like us to cover at peoplekeepdying@gmail.com. If you all follow us on our social medias, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I am posting every day on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. They're always the most random things, but if you comment on them, I do read them and then respond to you, just in case you're wondering.
All right.
Thanks for listening.
And we hope to catch you guys next time.
Hopefully you're alive.
Bye. Bye.